Hey Stitches, I'm Sam Cole, and today we are going over the 10 books I want to read by the end of the year. I saw this trend on Instagram, but because I have zero chill, I definitely don't have just 10 books that I want to get to before the end of the year, but I did try to consolidate them. So unfortunately for me, I have included trilogies as like one book or like one place on my list, but we'll see. I know it's ambitious, but like I said, I have no chill, and there have been so many great books that recently came out, and ones I said I wasn't interested in, but then became interested in, and so yeah, but without further ado, let's get right into it. So my number one spot is a trilogy, unfortunately, but it is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I have the first two on my Kindle because they were having a sale for like $2.99 each, so I was like, I feel like I have to do that. And the third book just came out like yesterday, or today actually, when I'm filming this. So, and everyone's been raving about it, and so I figured it was a perfect time to start reading it. So I am reading those. It is on my Kindle, and I will be making a reading vlog with like all my reactions to this trilogy and everything, but it will be spoiler free, of course. In my second position, I have a duology, which is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I've had these on my radar for a while now, and I've had this one on my shelf for even longer, but I found out that the duology was coming out this year, and so I decided to wait until it came out, which it has now come out, so I'm super excited to get into these. I've been like not so patiently waiting. I've heard that it's like a awesome gothic fantasy. I've explained it in a couple of my other videos, so I won't go too in depth, but it is a duology, so it's just these two. And essentially it's about this girl, Elizabeth, who, like, the area that she lives in, I guess, is dealing with some sort of plague or sickness that usually kills people. But it sounds like she got sick when she was little, and instead of killing her, it just left her with this like nightmare voice in her head, and we get to like see that dynamic and how she gets rid of the nightmare or works with the nightmare. And yeah, it sounds really, really good. It sounds super gothic, super fun, so I'm really excited about this. Next up is an anticipated release that I already have pre-ordered that comes out in about 2 weeks, which is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It is the sequel to the sensation of Fourth Wing. I absolutely loved Fourth Wing. It was one of my first videos that I did on this channel, which is like super fun and sentimental to me. They came out with these gorgeous new editions for both the new book and Fourth Wing, and I never got my hands on a physical copy of Fourth Wing, so I did also pre-order that. So that should be coming in on November 7th, and I can't wait to dive into that world again. I won't say too much. If you don't know about Fourth Wing, you have been living under a rock, but it is like essentially like a Divergent meets the Hunger Games but with dragons, and it's really good, romantic-y, super like intense enemies to lovers type situation, and I just ate it up. So if that sounds interesting to you, you've probably already read it, but if you haven't, definitely do so before the sequel, November 7th. Next up is another duology that I just recently got my hands on the first one. It's also been super popular, but the sequel comes out December 26th, I think, and that is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I know everyone in the Mother has already read this, has raved about it, has loved it. Just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. It sounds super intriguing though, the magical system. I don't know a ton. I do know that it's like a love story, kind of like rivals to lovers type situation, and it has something to do with like the god and these like magical letters that somehow go between these two people back and forth. So that sounds really good. Again, the sequel comes out December 26th, so I definitely want to read both of these around that time. And then in the lead up to House of Flame and Shadow, the third Crescent City book. I am in the process of doing my reread of the entire Sarah J. Maas universe. I have finished Throne of Glass, and now I am on ACOTAR, currently on A Court of Mist and Fury. I know it's ambitious, but the third Crescent City doesn't come out until January, so I really hope that I can burn through the rest of ACOTAR and then reread the first two before that comes out, because I'm so excited. I started with Crescent City when I first read the universe, and so I was left out of the big significance at the end of the second book, and so I can't wait to relive that and actually understand the excitement, and then obviously move forward with everyone else. I think that I'm just so excited for that. And so along that same line, the ACOTAR series took one spot off my list, and then the first and second Crescent City are the next spot on my list of 10 before the end. And then if I have time after all of that, I really do want to get to the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. I got these in a book haul and a reading radar not that long ago in order to be able to read Throne of the Fallen that just came out, which is an interconnected standalone, I guess. It's about one of the brothers in this series. You don't have to read this trilogy, but I've heard that if you love Throne of the Fallen and then want to go back and read these, it's spoiled for you by reading that book. And I don't really like that, and it's an excuse to read another fantasy series. So I really want to get to that and then read Throne of the Fallen. And then just kind of throw it in there to kind of throw in some easier standalone books. On Kindle Unlimited, I've been really interested in hearing a lot of good things about Butcher and the Blackbird. I think it's a serial killer is dating an police officer or an investigator, and he's investigating her murders, but it's a romance. I don't know. I've heard you need to check trigger warnings, but that it's really good and really funny. So yeah. And then along that same vein, I've also seen Morbidly Yours, and that looks really cute. I've heard, I think, some mixed things about it, but I just think it looks so cute and spooky and perfect for a little rom-com for the fall. And then last on my list is another book that I got and put in my October reading radar, and that is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. It's another standalone in this list of series, hopefully just to kind of break up all of that. But I've heard amazing things about this. It kind of described as a lit fic meets romance. The romance isn't the main focus of this, but obviously it's still prevalent. It's basically about this girl who moves into her aunt's house who has recently passed, and I think she's either gonna live there now or she's cleaning it up to sell. But one day when she goes in, she sees this man in her kitchen, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "What do you mean? I live here." And it turns out that he is 7 years in the past, and that the apartment is magical and allows time to pass differently. I'm not sure, but it sounds really good, and I've heard great things about this. So yeah, please let me know if you have any other suggestions of things that I just have to read before the end of the year. Obviously I am being ambitious with my list, but these are just the books that are on the very tippity top of my radar, the ones that are battling it out for my next read. Obviously priority goes to the ones that have a sequel or something coming out soon, just because I want to get to that as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. Please let me know if you have any suggestions, if any of these are also on your 10 before the end, and if there's any specifics that you would like a reading vlog on, please let me know. That would be so fun. And make sure to comment, and subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Love ya. Bye.